Welcome to the observation deck. Now, Cowboy Bebop is a special, sweet, and unique show that any anime lover definitely needs to check out once or at least twice, maybe even more, because that's just how good it is. Cowboy Bebop definitely leaves a bittersweet taste on your mouth in the end because, well, it's quite somber in the end. But aside from that, Cowboy Bebop definitely has a lot of themes about forgetting the past and why it's so difficult to forget the past and forge a new future for yourself. Now, with that in mind, before I get into the whole point of this video, that is why it's so difficult to forge a new future for yourself, I want to get into the world of Cowboy Bebop, the little that we do see of it from the lens of the Bebop crew, that being Faye, Jet, Ayn, Spike, and Ed. The world of Cowboy Bebop is just so crime-ridden, filled with terror attacks, bounties, and a new conspiracy on the rise almost every episode. But an interesting thing about the world of Cowboy Bebop is that there is just so much going on, but we only get to see part of it through the eyes of the crew. So we do know that there is a lot that does go on in the world of Cowboy Bebop. For example, the whole thing with the red-eye drug. Even though the show never really gets that deep into it, but the crew tends to bump into bigger events taking place around the asteroids, but never actually follow through deeply enough in solving some of them. But it is understandable because they're bounty hunters, not detectives or police officers. So it's interesting that there is no big bad in Cowboy Bebop that the crew has to inevitably overcome. And I can't even count Vicious because Vicious isn't really the Bebop's problem. He's Spike's problem. He's Spike's arch nemesis. He's Spike's past. But we do see a glimpse of the criminal world within Cowboy Bebop through Vicious's eyes. And whenever some of the crew or Spike interact with Vicious, we do see that there is a strong criminal presence throughout the entire galaxy in Cowboy Bebop, that being the Syndicate. So you could say the Syndicate is the big bad, but the crew never really deals with the Syndicate directly. They just mostly do bounties. They're not really superheroes or crime fighters. They're just bounty hunters. So a lot of the criminal element honestly continues to go unhindered, even though the crew does have the potential to do something about it, but they're bounty hunters at the end of the day. Now let's get to this whole thing about Cowboy Bebop forgetting the past and moving on and such. Aside from the crew of the Bebop, the show does cover an ensemble of individuals struggling to overcome their pasts, their traumas. Some overcoming them, yet some dying to them in search of closure. Now, we do see, for example, Grin and that weird boy man guy, that these two are clear examples of dying because of your past and dying because of the consequences of chasing it. At first, throughout this show, the Bebop crew lived for nothing more than the present, superficially going about their day, searching for the next bounty, just trying to make some cash. But eventually, so much depth begins to arise from every member of the crew, and the show does reveal to us why they are so fixated on the present but not the future. It's because most of the Bebop crew members are heavily tethered to their past. Because if you're always sticking to your past, it's almost impossible to outrun it because you are unable to build a future for yourself that's worth more than what you're trying to run away from, what you're trying to overcome. Sticking to your past makes you really lonely and unable to see what you have right in front of you. It becomes very difficult, like Spike, to see the possibility of a new future for yourself because you can't see anymore. Your eyes only gravitate towards what's supposed to be behind you. Now, when you're stuck on the past, everything around you moves forward, whether you're aware of it or not. Spike, for example, being so fixated on his past with the Syndicate, Vicious, and Julia, he sees nothing for himself ahead.
I've been seeing the past in one eye and the present in the other. So I thought I could only see patches of reality, never the whole picture.
The Bebop represents a kind of limbo where the crew of the Bebop are tested whether or not they can move forward from their past and forge a new future. Now, this test, Spike, I believe, ends up failing it, but the others begin to move forward. Ein and Ed leave the Bebop, Faye does return, but only to attempt to stop Spike. So we do see that the past can actually be difficult to escape if you continue to bathe your mind and your heart in it. It traps you, keeps you from being able to see a possible future away from it, and the constant need to find closure in it. Now, depending on how your past looked like, finding closure in everything about it in your present can lead to problems like Spike and early death. Now, even though Spike says it himself that he has no future and he sees no future for himself, Spike is definitely a cautionary tale that in order for us to be able to move forward, we need to be able to forge and create a new future for ourselves that's far more valuable to us than where we came from. So, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.